folks, welcome to the basic concept. Thank you for checking out the video. And in this video I'll be doing a short tutorial about how to use ETrade, how to find, research, and discover funds and stocks in general. Now again, I'll be using ETrade because that's what I've been using since 2003, but if you had used a different platform, all of this information should still be there. It might be labeled differently or might be in a different place altogether, but it will still be there. And this will be a beginner's guide on how to find and invest in funds for long-term investing or for retirement accounts. And before we jump into the actual video and jump on my computer, I just want to state that this is not a financial advice video. This is just for education and entertainment purpose only. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about ETrade, a little bit of a tutorial on how to use it, and how to navigate a couple different sections on it, but primarily we're going to be focusing on the research tab and looking at some mutual funds and some ETFs. So once you've logged in, you're going to have your account tab, your trading tab, and your research tab, and also exploring products. In this particular tab, you can look at the entire US market, which will give you this breakdown right here, so you can quickly see how the Dow is doing, NASDAQ, S&P 500, and recent companies that you've looked at here on the side, you'll see them as well. Once you click on the global markets, you can see some of the global indexes as well, and you can also click on world news to see if there's anything going on that might be affecting really anything that's going on with the market. Under the stocks tab, there's a stock screener, which you see right here. This is actually pretty cool if you're new to the stock market in general. You can kind of play around with the numbers to see what kind of stock you're looking for if you're not familiar with different companies. But this is actually a pretty good one to kind of pick out the stocks that you want to invest in if you're looking at individual investing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I would recommend playing around with it if you're looking at individual stocks. For options, I have a video on my channel that specifically goes over options and how to maximize your returns on this one and how to use it strategically so you're not costing yourself too much money, but still maximizing your input-output for yourself. Check that video out. I'll link that in the description below if you want to see it. Primarily in this video, we're going to be going over mutual funds and ETFs, but really quickly, they do offer features, bonds, CDs, planning tools for retirement, and also a knowledge base, which is actually pretty extensive, and a lot of my knowledge has come from this one. Again, I started investing back in 2002, 2003, and YouTube really wasn't that educational at that point. So a lot of my knowledge actually came from knowledge base from ETrade and watching some of their seminars and whatnot. But this is actually a pretty comprehensive one. They'll give you a lot of different scenarios where you can actually learn different ways of investing and also how to manage your portfolio and your money pretty well. And if you do want to see some of their webinars or their training material, I guess is what it's called, that you can see, click on the events tab under knowledge, and you can see like how you can learn about charting the markets. There's ones about stocks that are on the move. Couple different ones that you can learn from. So again, it's a very, very easy source to gain some extra knowledge on it. All right, let's go into mutual funds and ETFs. Now these are very similar. The difference again with mutual funds are they're managed by a manager, so you do pay a little bit more for fees, where ETFs sometimes are cheaper, and often there's no fees at all because they're mimicking the market or one of the markets. All right, so when you click on research, mutual fund screener, it's going to take you to a page similar to this one, where it gives you an overview. You can look at all-star ones, you can screen specific ones, you can compare multiple ones, you can analyze different categories, and you can also choose from pre-built ETrade portfolios. Now, if you have a fund that you're already familiar with, you can type it in here, and it will bring it down for you. But if you want to find new ones, you can choose from different fund families, you can choose different categories. To compare their performance, you can do from 3-year all the way up to 10-year. You can also reduce outcome of funds that don't have expense ratios or less expense ratios. And then you can also choose by rating from Morningstar. So if you leave all of this blank, there's 9,256 results, which is a lot. So we're going to go by narrowing it down a little bit. Okay, so I chose a couple different categories. So we're going to change it up to performance of 10 years, top 20% as far as performance goes, expense ratio to be minimal, and also 5-star rating on Morningstar. So as you can see, the results went from 9,000 all the way down to 353. Let's check out the results. So the first thing that I like to do is basically change the display results from an overview to performance based on average annual returns. From here, you'll see 1 year return, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, and then also since inception. Basically, that means, so this particular fund, for example, I don't know about them, but they've been around since 2008, and they've produced 7.72% gain since they were been around. Last year, they did 18.69, which is actually pretty good. 3 year average is 12.92, and then the 5 year average is 9.03. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on this 10 year one twice so we can see it from highest to the lowest as far as the 10 year performance. So now you can see that the Fidelity Select one has performed at 20.64%. And then the next one up is 19% and so on. So this is going to be rated as highest performing one. Other things you can also take a look at is their expense ratios. And they're both under, a lot of these are under 1%, which is actually really good. Once you find some of the ones that you really like, you can click on the boxes right next to them. And towards the bottom, you can either compare them against each other, or you can add them to your watch list so you can continue monitoring them and see when the perfect opportunity arises to fund them. Let's jump over to ETFs real quick, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to ETF Screener. So this looks almost identical, basically the same thing, but the results are 2,328. So we're going to try to reduce those down a little bit more as well. All right, so I've chosen a couple different categories. We're going to keep the performance to 10 years. We're going to look at the top 20 as far as performance go. Expense ratio, we want the bottom 20%. So we want the lowest expense ratio as possible, but the highest rating possible as well. And that reduces the results all the way down to 15 only. And let's check them out. All right, so once you're here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change this drop down to performance. And then we're going to change the 10-year one to have the highest one at the top. So QQQ is actually one I'm familiar with. So that one has been returning 18.95% in the 10 year. So these ones are actually going to be like really easy for you to scrub through and find the ones that you like. And same thing, you can add them onto your watch list or compare them against each other. All right, so once you have like a few different ones picked out that you like, you can actually go ahead and click on one, and it will take you to this screen right here, which will give you a snapshot telling you what the price is, what the change was in pricing today, what the ask and bid is, the day's range, and how much have been traded. So again, pretty similar screen as any other stock screener. And similar to the last page, once you go down here, you'll see their average returns. So you can see that it matches what we saw earlier. But what we're really going to look at is going to be the performance tab. On this page, it's going to give you where the summary is derived from and a growth chart of $10,000 that you would have invested 10 years ago. So according to this chart, it says that if you invested $10,000 in QQQ 10 years ago, it would have been $56,664 current market value. If you want to see more details on how Morningstar rates it, you can actually click on this. It's going to open up a new window. We'll bring it down. And you can see a little more detail on how they rate their funds and what patterns and charts that they look at. And it's going to give you a lot more breakdown, a little more thorough investigation on the actual fund that you can read and find out if this fund is right for you. And similar to that one, if you click on the fund report, let me bring that down, you can see the fund highlights, their strategy, but mainly what you're looking for is this particular risk analysis where it will tell you if it's low, moderate, or high. Just again telling you how much of a risk you're taking with that particular holding. And then also gives you the top 10 holding breakdown for it. So you can see that 12% of it is Apple, 11% Microsoft, so pretty big names up here. Google is in there as well. So this would be a pretty stable fund in my opinion, but derive your own from like the list of companies and also their risk factor as well. So the other thing you can also take a look at is their market cap, their regional exposure, and their country exposure. The other thing you can take a look at is on this left side, you'll see the portfolio facts, their average valuation, so you can see like how they perform against other funds that are in the similar category. And you can also take a look at their prospectus, which will basically give you like an about you for that company, what they're about and what their goals are. And it's a lot of reading, but if you want to see what they have, like how much they have in total assets, how many shares that they have, pretty much a lot of details, numerical values and stuff like that you'll see here. So one more thing that I wanted to show you, I'll have to switch to a different fund. So on this particular one, if you go into the fund details, it shows you the net expense ratio, whether it's available to new investors or not, how much you have to put in, and fund redemption. So if you hold it for less than 90 days, you're going to be paying a 2% redemption fee. And it tells you if you can contribute in an IRA account or not, and basically it's a $100 minimum on that one. And then this particular one is a mutual fund, so the cutoff time is 4 p.m., which is market closing time. So this is going to be a good one to look at for mutual funds because it's going to tell you whether there's a transaction fee or a sales charge, and then what the minimum amount that you have to invest in. Now, obviously, this particular fund is $33. So with the $100 investment, you can buy approximately 3 of them. But let's assume that the fund value was over $100. Let's say if it was 110, and initial investment is 100. This is minimum, so you would have to put in $110 to be able to buy 1 share in most cases. Now, some of these do allow fractional shares. I'm not sure if this one does or not, but if it was $110, you would have to put in at least $110 to be able to buy at least 1 share. So let's take a look at one of my favorite funds. We're going to look at WYM, which is the Vanguard Index Fund. Now, this particular one is trading currently at $93.81. It's one of the higher rated Morningstar funds, and it's one of the more commonly purchased ones for most people anyways. Now, the reason this is so popular is because A, it's not super expensive, and B, it does produce a 3.03% yield, which again, if you're familiar with inflation, it's above inflation currently, so it's going to maintain your money in addition to growing based on the companies that it has. So if you look at the performance chart for this particular fund in the last 10 years, you can see that a couple of the other ones that we looked at had a higher return, but this one is 33.724, but it's one of the higher, more stable funds that are out there. So if we clicked on the fund report on this one, let me bring this down. I'm pretty sure this one is either going to be low or moderate as far as risk goes. Yeah, so they have it rated at moderate. But a couple of the companies that they're holding are JP Morgan Chase Banking Company, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Intel. So again, big names in here. And that's comprising, they don't have any values that are over 4 or 5%. Like their highest value is JP Morgan Chase at 3.9%. So this one is a little more diversified than the other fund that we looked at. Finally, I wanted to show you guys SPY, which is Spider S&P 500 ETF. Now, this particular one is, if you don't want to do a whole lot of research and finding like other funds that are similar to it, this one tracks the S&P 500. So on this particular one, again, if you click on the performance tab, you can see that a growth of $10,000 would have been $36,577, which again is pretty well. And if you click on their fund report, this one should also be either low or moderate. So moderate on this one as well. Their highest holdings are Microsoft and Apple, which make about 10% of their holdings, but they have other big companies like Amazon, Facebook, Berkshire, and Google. If you use ETrade or any other major platform other than Robinhood and Webull, those are good platforms, but I don't think they have as much research tools as ETrade, Fidelity, or Schwab. But if you use one of those 3, you can go into like their research tabs and click on like the all-star fund screeners, and you can basically see a whole lot of details, and makes it really easy to find funds that you want to invest in and not have to put in a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of research into it. They pretty much do the research for you here. And then finally for ETrade, I wanted to show their pre-built portfolios, and then this one they'll basically go through a risk assessment to see what your risk tolerance is, and they'll go over basically a conservative model, a moderate, or an aggressive, or a mix of all of 3 depending on how you tolerate risk. Let me know if you found this video informative or helpful in the comment section below. Also, feel free to hit any of the buttons below, as it does help my channel grow, especially the subscribe button and the notification bell. And I do upload new videos every Monday regarding personal finance and money. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.